Hi, my name is David. I'm in Taiwan, and this is Taiwan in English. In today's exciting episode, we'll be taking a look at some things that most, if not all, Americans have read in school in whole or in part. They're part of the culture that everyone knows, even if they don't remember that they know. For a lot of people, they live in the back of their minds until something happens that brings them up. And like many of the idioms that we have talked about on the channel, referencing or saying parts is often all that is needed to communicate the idea. I was trying to keep it a secret until it was too late for you to click away, but yes, these are more poems. Don't worry, they're all pretty short. A teacher, or a lot more than one, has suggested that I make some questions to go with things like this. So here's the thing. In Taiwan, at least when it comes to English, questions come in two forms: fill in the blank, also known as closed test, and multiple choice, aka multiple guess. Did you see what I did there? I used a phrase, also known as, and then I used an initialism, aka. Watch out for stuff like that. I'm sneaky. Anyway, fill in the blank and multiple choice questions are not the best option for students. They're great for teachers and people that make standardized tests, mostly because of how easy they are to grade. All that they have to do is look at a list of words or letters. On a quick side note, in that last sentence, I used a very unusual word, alls. It seems that this is pretty much exclusively a Midwest American thing. That's where my family is from, so it's not too much of a surprise. We'll take a look at some regionalisms like that in an upcoming exciting episode. Back to the questions. If the questions that you usually see are not the best for students, what is a better way to ask questions? It's really a progression. Fill in the blank and multiple choice are great for very young people. But at some point, forming thoughts and opinions becomes much more important. I don't mean someone asking you, what is your favorite fruit? That's really very little more than a fill in the blank. Forming thoughts and having opinions is more in line with, what is the best way to make fried rice? To answer this, you have to first know how to make fried rice, at least one way, and then have an opinion on which method do you prefer. These types of questions are called short answer questions or some variation of essay, E-S-S-A-Y. No, sorry, I have no idea why it's spelled like that. Short answers are generally sentences and essays are paragraphs. For today, I'm only going to ask you to think about, and if you want, comment below about the baseline questions. These are the questions that you should always be answering about anything that you see, read, or hear. First, what is the purpose of this thing? Why does it exist? I know this might be odd for you. I've seen many a face that went blank when I asked this exact question in classrooms. But it's not that tricky. Most of the things that you have read in English class have been to teach you English, which is a terrible goal. Try to look a little deeper, closer. Let's use an example. You're watching TV and a commercial comes on. There's a very pretty lady taking a big drink of some specific tea. She is saying how since she started drinking this tea, she has more energy. She has lost weight. Her hair is shinier and her feet don't stink. I hope you understand that the purpose of this is to sell you tea. It only exists so that the advertiser can try to convince you or your mom to buy this magic tea. Is that good or bad? No. But it is important to know what it is. The second baseline question is, what is it telling me? Or what is it trying to say? In our pretty lady tea example, it is trying to make you think that the tea is the reason for all of the good things that the pretty lady says is happening to her. You should notice that, at least in English, they very, very rarely say that the product, the tea, is responsible, but they imply it as strongly as they can. The third baseline question is, what do you think about it? Some people might use feel in this situation, but I generally want to know what's in somebody's head, not their heart. So, back to our pretty lady. When I see this kind of thing on TV or online, I think they're trying to mislead me, and I don't like it. So, I don't buy their products. If the messaging had been that it tastes good and was made from things that I think are healthy, I might not think that they were trying to trick me and give it a try. You have to figure out for yourself what you think about things. Anyone that says that they can or tries to do this for you might not be a person you want to be around. A moment ago, I said I wanted to know what was in someone's head and not in their hearts. Well, with poetry, it's kind of both. So with poems, make the third baseline question, what do you think and feel about it? I have to tell you that the list of poems was longer. But after I read a few to some of the editors, wow, I have rarely seen faces turn so white. So I'm going to use the ones that didn't make anyone's head explode. The first one was written by Robert Louis Stevenson and was published in 1885. I think one of the most interesting things about this is that Stevenson wrote this between Treasure Island and Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And yes, that is the correct title. There is no the. I'm not sure why. Anyway, my shadow. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He is very, very like me from the heels up to his head, and I see him jump before me when I jump into my bed. The funniest thing about him is the way he likes to grow, not at all like proper children, which is always very slow. For sometimes he shoots up taller like an Indian rubber ball, and he sometimes gets so little that there's none of him at all. He hasn't got a notion of how children ought to play and can only make a fool of me in every sort of way. He stays so close beside me, he's a coward, you can see. I'd think shame to stick to Nursey as shadow sticks to me. One morning very early, before the sun was up, I rose and found the shining dew on every buttercup. But my lazy little shadow, like an errant sleepyhead, had stayed at home behind me and was fast asleep in bed. That's it for today. But before you go, I would really appreciate it if you would hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to comment down below. And as always, if you have questions, you can find me here or on social media, links below. And I'll see you in the next exciting video of Taiwan in English. Bye.